Okay. Okay, thank you for coming to the Montclair City Council meeting. We'll get the meeting started, and we'll begin with our invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance. And Andrea, please announce those two individuals.
Okay. First, I would just like to say that anyone who would like to listen to the meeting in Spanish may step out into the lobby where the meeting is being broadcast in Spanish.
Si gusta escuchar la junta en español, puede salir al vestíbulo donde la reunión se está transmitiendo en español.
Tonight's invocation will be given by Minister Jimmy Crowell of the Fire Department Chaplain, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Mendez.
Okay, please stand.
Bow with me. Father God, we come before you this evening, Lord. We just thank you for this opportunity to come before you. Lord, I just ask that you just bring wisdom into this house tonight. Be with all the council members, Lord. Give them wisdom how to handle the things of this city, Father God. And just fill this place with your spirit, Lord. The needs of the people here, let them be heard, Father God. Let them be dealt with in a proper and honest manner. Lord, I ask that you be with all the people of this city, Father God. Just guide them, Lord, in your ways, Lord. Lord, be with all our first responders tonight. Protect them. Be with their families, Lord. And we just ask this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. If everybody would please put their hand over the heart and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very much. We'll have roll call now.
Councilmember Mendez. Councilmember Lopez.
I'm here.
Councilmember Rue. Mayor Pro Tem Martinez. And Mayor Dutre.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I just wanted to say that I hope everybody had a wonderful Easter yesterday with your family and your loved ones, your friends. And I think in the spirit of Pope Leo, we pray for peace around the world during this Easter moment. We will now go on to presentations. We have 4 presentations on the agenda tonight. I'm going to start for the first one here, since the organization is not present, and this is for the DMV Donate Life California Month of April 2025, whereas organ, eye, tissue, marrow, and blood donations are life-giving acts recognized worldwide as an expression of compassion to those in need, whereas more than 103,000 individuals nationwide and more than 23,000 in California are currently on the National Organ Transplant waiting list, and on average, 17 people die each day while waiting, whereas the need for donated organs is especially urgent in the Hispanic, Latino, and African American communities. Whereas organ donors saved more than 46,000 lives last year. And then, therefore, I'd like to resolve that during the month of April, that we proclaim April 2026 as the DMV Donate Life Month. And we will make sure that this proclamation, gets to the organization. Okay, going to next, we have 3 others. We're going to recognize a Montclair resident for their heroic actions. This will be done by the Fire Chief. And Fire Chief, if you want to lead off, come on up. And then from that, we'll do the Montclair Youth Basketball League. And then finally, Arbor Day. So I'm going to ask my council colleagues to please join me.
Would Jeffrey Johnson please come to the front of the chambers? Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, City Manager, and members of the community. Tonight's my honor to formally recognize and commend the actions of one of our residents and community members, Mr. Jeffrey Johnson, for his outstanding efforts during a local emergency here in the city of Montclair. On March 18th, 2026, the Montclair Fire Department responded to a reported structure fire at the Heritage Park Senior Community Apartments, a two-story residential apartment complex in our community. Prior to the arrival of the fire department personnel, Mr. Johnson took immediate action when he discovered a kitchen fire within the building. Recognizing the danger, Mr. Johnson quickly located a fire extinguisher mounted on the property and used it effectively to extinguish the fire before it had the opportunity to spread. His quick thinking and decisive action prevented significant property damage and, more importantly, potentially saved lives. While the fire was contained to the kitchen area, Mr. Johnson's efforts were especially critical in preventing the fire from extending into the common attic space of the 16-unit building, an outcome that would have resulted in a far more serious and dangerous incident affecting many residents. When fire department personnel arrived on scene, crews conducted minor overhaul and ventilation, and the unit was ultimately left in a safe and tenable condition. Without Mr. Johnson's immediate intervention, this incident had the potential to escalate into a devastating fire. Mr. Johnson's actions demonstrated a high level of awareness, initiative, and composure under pressure. His response serves as an excellent example of how members of the public play a vital role in fire prevention and early intervention. It also highlights the importance of having working fire extinguishers available and knowing how to use them. On behalf of the members of the Montclair Fire Department and the City of Montclair, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to Mr. Johnson for his assistance and commend him for his outstanding actions during this emergency.
Okay, Jeffrey, you did a courageous act to save a life, and I know that it takes brave people to do this. And so on behalf of the City of Montclair and the City Council, we want to give you a certificate for your bravery.
Come on, Gigi, get up there. Come
Chief.
on, Pops, you too. Go get in there. I got you. Come on. It's your boy. Yes, come on. Oh, you gonna get in there? 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me get it with this camera. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's go.
Okay. We're going to recognize the Montclair Youth Basketball League's, the Portland Trailblazers. I like Montclair Trailblazers better. Does that sound good, Montclair Trailblazers? Can I say that? All right. For the winning the 2026 Southern California Municipal Athletic Federation, the Inland Empire Basketball Tournament of League Champions for Division C of this year. So I have a little script here what this team did. So on Saturday, March 14, the Trailblazers completed in 2 games. In their first matchup against Rialto, they secured a 23-18 victory. In their second game, they faced Riverside and fell short with a final score of 29-21. On Sunday, March 15, the Trailblazers returned with an impressive performance, winning 4 games. They opened the day with a dominant 56-29 win over Chino. Their second game, they defeated the same Rialto team from Saturday, 33-21. In their third game, which was a tightly contested battle, the Trailblazers edged out a 21-20 victory with another Rialto team. And then the championship game, the Montclair Trailblazers avenged their loss to Riverside. So the team they lost to the night before, they beat them. They secured the championship with a thrilling 34-33 win. Wow. So who's the coach? Coach, come on, coach. I'm going to start off with the coach. Actually, bring the whole team up here, and we're going to give you everybody get a certificate and have your coach come up here too. All right.
We have Dominic Ramirez. Kenya Baruman. Bryce Burkholder. Ariel Flores. Mateo Barrera Ramirez. Jackson Gutierrez. Dylan Sanchez. Henry Urzua. Enrique Urzua. Ezekiel Tionison. Coach Emmanuel Gutierrez.
All the parents.
In the front, guys. Little's in the front. Mateo, get in the front, kneel down, Tiki. And Mateo, kneel down. Kneel down, Jackson.
Okay, the last one. And congratulations to our 2026 champions over here. Another round of hands for these guys. And now I'm looking for Rosemary. Where's Rosemary? Is she here? Come on up, Rosemary. I got something for you too. Rosemary. One is Arbor Day of April 24, 2026. And Rosemary is our interim Public Works Director. And prior to that, she was with us. What was your title last year? You were the Executive Director. You're still the Executive Director, interim. Just head of all. She used to be a city manager in another city as well. But nevertheless, whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for planting of trees. And whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, whereas here in the city of Montclair, I believe this is we've had this recognition several times, recognizing the city of Montclair as Tree City of USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation. And of course, City of Montclair continues to believe and desires to continue for tree planting practices. So therefore, be resolved that we proclaim April 24, 2026 here in the city of Montclair as Arbor Day.
To thank them. I just wanted to thank the mayor and the city council for proclaiming April 24th Arbor Day, and to let everybody know in the community that in celebration of Arbor Day, we're going to have a tree planting event at Sunset Park on April 24th between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Sunset Park Fruit Park is actually where we're going to do the planting, and Sunset Park is located off of Orchard Avenue, east of Mills? Yeah, I think so, east of Mills Avenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. With that, we'll take about a 2-minute break. So if anybody wants to leave, they can do it now. Want to stay, please stay, and give us about 2 minutes. Bill, you need to relax. Okay. Put this away. That away. This meeting back in order. So I'm going to call this meeting back to order. And we're under public comment at this time. And this is an opportunity for members of the public to address the city council on any item that is not on the agenda or any item that is under consent calendar business items portion of the agenda. I think we do have some consent calendar items. Pursuant to California law, the Brown Act, council is prohibited to comment on items not on the agenda, with exception of brief responses either by staff or the city council. If you wish to address the city council, you'll complete a speaking card, which is located to my left at the front door, and then you will submit it to my right to the city clerk staff. How many speakers do we have tonight, Andrea?
So 23 speakers and 2 comments to read.
Okay, so we normally have 5 minutes, so if the council is is okay with it, I think if we go with 3 minutes tonight, that'll give us about an hour, at least an hour of speaking, comments this evening. So any objections to the
I would object
3
to
minutes?
that.
3 minutes you're good with?
No, I object to that.
You object. Anybody else object? Nobody else objects, then we'll stay with the 3 minutes then for speaking tonight. And then that's it. Okay, Andrea, it's all yours.
Our first speaker is Alice Garcia.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I had planned on just sitting this one out because I'll be honest, this is exhausting. But I'm not here because it's easy. I'm here because it's necessary. 2 months have passed, Ben, since the judge's decision, and yet you still refuse to resign after being found liable for sexual harassment. But look at what has happened in those 2 months. The city amended your censure. Administrative restrictions have been in place. You've gotten economic sanctions, and your picture has been removed from the foyer of City Hall. And as of March 25th, the petition to recall you has officially been approved. You are essentially slowly being erased. By the time this is over, every resident in Montclair will know exactly who you are, and not for anything great that you've done, but for sexually harassing 2 city employees. And I will make sure of that. Mr. Ruh, I find it just as disgraceful that in the past, on November 4th, 2024, you chose to speak up about how disheartened you were by the vile rat mailers used in campaigning against Mr. Lopez. But what I haven't heard from you is how disgusting and vile his actions are now that he has been found liable in a court of law. Councilmember Mendez, even after you were summoned by Ben Lopez and humiliated in court over your behavior at a city event, the loyalty remains. You both still choose to sit there and support him silently. You are part of the problem. I see all the negative comments on the community Facebook page, and I see that people want all of you removed because things need to change. But we cannot let that distract us from the rot that has been sitting in this seat for 5 years. While we argue over everything else, Ben Lopez continues to sit there, unapologetic, despite a court of law proving his malice, fraud, and oppression. We can't fix any of the other problems until we finish dealing with the old ones.
Thank you.
Next speaker
We have-
is Dominic Mistretta.
And then before we go to Dominic Estrada, Andrea, can you also announce a third person so we can,
Yes, the next person after that is Shirley M.
okay, come on down, Dominic.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you. My name is Dominic Mistretta. I'm a fire captain with the Montclair Fire Department and a representative of the Montclair Professional Firefighters, IAFF Local 935. I'm speaking tonight because the Montclair Fire Department is approaching a critical breaking point. At this moment, 9 firefighters from our department have accepted conditional offers of employment with neighboring agencies. Those 9 include 5 firefighters, 3 fire engineers, and 1 fire captain. The engineers and captains are accepting positions that are voluntary demotions into lower ranks. 2 of the 9 have already resigned, and 7 more are slated to depart in the following 30 days. For a department of our size, that level of loss is significant and will leave our fire department dangerously understaffed and leave the citizens of Montclair at an immediate public safety risk. These firefighters are not leaving the fire service. They're leaving Montclair. Including these 9 firefighters departing, our agency has lost 39 full-time professional firefighters in the last 10 years. That's over twice the size of our current department staffing level. When experienced firefighters leave, they take years of training, knowledge, and emergency response experience with them. Replacing that experience is not quick or easy. The firefighters who remain are deeply committed to protecting this community, but the reality is that the remaining personnel cannot indefinitely absorb the workload created by the loss of 9 firefighters. Trying to do so will require unsustainable levels of overtime with an explosion to the city's overtime budget, an unsustainable amount of time away from our families, and an increasing level of fatigue among the firefighters responsible for protecting this city. Our union wants to make sure the city has a very clear understanding of the department's current situation. The immediate impact from the department of half the department leaving will lead to firefighter burnout, an increase in on-duty injuries, a drop in the level of safety to the community, and a possible brownout of a fire station if necessary. In our industry, the term brownout refers to a hopefully temporary reduction to the level of services provided to the community, which leads to greatly increased response times in emergencies where seconds matter, and heavy reliance on neighboring jurisdictions to take care of our city's emergencies. At some point, a system under that level of strain will fail. Fire departments must be able to consistently staff their fire engines with trained firefighters who are ready to respond at a moment's notice. If the city continues to lose firefighters faster than it can retain or replace them, the ability to maintain that level of service will become impossible. The residents of Montclair deserve a fire department that is stable, properly staffed, and capable of responding when emergencies occur. This is not about politics. It's about protecting the safety of the community and the firefighters who serve it. The firefighters of Montclair are proud to serve this city, but the current path is not sustainable, and without meaningful action, the situation will only continue to worsen. We respectfully ask the City Council to recognize the seriousness of this moment and begin taking steps now to secure the future of fire protection in Montclair. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Shirley M., followed by Tina Silva.
Hello.
Good evening. My name is Shirley M., and you heard from me in this chamber on March 16. I'm here holding up a sign along with many others of us to represent one person unlawfully abducted by ICE here in Montclair since June last year. After a few of us came to speak here on March 16, we noticed that Mayor Dutre contributed $100 to one single family's GoFundMe, a family affected by an ICE detention. We are not asking you to take action as an individual or to make personal sacrifices. We are calling on you all as elected representatives to take systemic action at the local level. Pomona put public money toward a community fund for its residents and fundraised even more from the community. There is no reason that Montclair can't do the same, given the much higher proportion, as we showed you last time, of residents kidnapped here by ICE per capita. Montclair is a small city, and it's small cities that are leading the nation right now in taking meaningful action to protect their communities. Look at Linwood and LA County that passed the Linwood Values Act. We are calling on you to similarly build a community safety net by providing funds to residents who have lost income from ICE detentions and abductions, who have lost their primary breadwinner. We're calling on you to enact values-based procurement policies that cut out contractors who enable unlawful immigration detentions by providing services to ICE and Customs and Border Protection. We're calling on you to refuse to allow violations of the constitutional rights of your residents that you represent, the reason you are sitting here today on city property. There are no more important issues in Montclair right now. Show that you take your resident safety seriously and put these items on your next agenda, and resign Ben Lopez, because sexual harassers aren't here for community safety either.
Next speaker is Tina Silva, followed by Rose.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. If I could have your attention, that would be awesome. It's been over 300 days since ICE raids have escalated in our community. 300. I'm here to ask you to take concrete steps to protect our community and not dismiss us. As many of us mentioned last month, ICE officers continue to put the entire community in danger, breaking traffic laws and trying to intimidate residents, which has included pulling law-abiding citizens over for no reason. I ask you to first create a local support fund for families impacted by ICE raids similar to the one Pomona has. When primary earners are taken, families are left in crisis overnight. We need a safety net. Second, adopt a policy that prohibits ICE from staging operations on city property. Our public spaces should not be used to facilitate fear in our neighborhoods. Third, ensure the city does not contract with companies that support immigration enforcement activities, including data sharing. Our tax dollars should not contribute to harming our residents. Fourth, I'm asking the city to investigate why the area from Monte Vista to Mills and Kingsley to Holt has been repeatedly targeted, and I demand accountability. And finally, at the last meeting, the mayor stated that community concerns were merely allegations. I'm asking, what verifications has the city done? When residents come forward with consistent first-hand, I say that, first-hand concerns, calling them allegations dismisses their lived experiences instead of taking them seriously. Our community deserves transparency, protection, and leadership. And I will second that Ben Lopez, you should resign. Thank you.
Speaker is Rose, followed by Oscar Urenia.
All right. Good evening, City Council. I ask all of you to look at me, especially you, Mayor Javier John something. So this is in regards of immigration, clearly, because I do have a sign of someone here that did get kidnapped. My name is Rose, and I'm here today because my community is hurting and it's being ignored. In Montclair, we have documented at least 44 kidnappings by ICE and California Border Patrol, with estimates over 60. These are not just numbers, these are parents, workers, neighbors, and loved ones. One of them is my friend Marcelino, a hardworking father. He's a friend and a neighbor. He was taken right here in Montclair on January 6th on Canoga and Helena. This is not just a statistic, this is someone in our community that we know and we love. Montclair has a population of about 37,000, yet we are seeing higher rates of these incidents than nearby cities like Ontario and Pomona. And still, there has been no acknowledgement from this council and that our community is under attack. These actions are happening in broad daylight near schools, bus stops, and neighborhoods like Monte Vista and Ramona. People are being taken as early as 5 in the morning when they are going to work to make money for their families, like you guys are. There are also serious concerns about coordination between local police enforcement and ICE, and that we want accountability from them. So I'm asking you today to create a support fund for families that have been affected, ban ICE from using city property, stop contracts that support immigration enforcement, and investigate why our neighborhoods are being targeted. Your silence is not neutral, it is harmful. Marcelino is not just a name. He is a father, a neighbor, and he should be home. If you won't act for him, then who will you act for? We need leadership, protection, and we need action now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oscar Urenia, followed by Rosa Gonzalez.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Is that too loud? My name is Oscar Ureña. I'm a teacher. I feel like, speaking from a teacher perspective, I feel like my students are scared, losing their parents, losing their breadwinners, losing their primos. the dehumanization of our people has been extensive. I'm a history teacher, so we go over the Repatriation Act, where from 300K to 2 million people during the Great Depression were deported. A lot of them were US citizens. So scapegoating for economic reasons has been going on for a long time for not just Latinos, but a lot of minorities. Montclair's demographics are around 72% of our Latino are Hispanic. So I ask the council members to reflect when creating choices and making decisions on taking into account who your demographics are and who you are supporting and serving and your position of leadership. There's a lot of, how much am I talking? I'm good. There's a lot of people that say they should have thought about this, about crossing, right? They deserve to be taken. Heard these comments by my own students sometimes. Risking your life for a dream, what they call the American dream, without speaking about U.S. foreign policy is deeply disingenuous. A foreign policy of decades of extraction, and you can Google that. Like my compa said, Pomona and Pasadena have passed an emergency fund. I don't see why Montclair, that again has 72% of Hispanic people that we're serving, cannot do the same. When I teach about local heroes, it'd be cool to be, well, maybe not about Ben Lopez from what I hear, but from everybody else, it'd be cool to talk about local heroes, you know, in the future when we talk about in the history books. You know, when people talk about Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and disregard like the histories, you know. And so I think when we think about surveying community, I think these things are important. And then I agree with my compas banning ICE from using public spaces. And thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Rosa Gonzalez, followed by Maria Sante.
Hello, good evening, members of the council. So yes, I am Rosa Gonzalez. I'm a resident of Fontana, but I am here to support the community of Montclair. I'm glad you all were able to recognize some of the accomplishments of the youth of Montclair. However, I would also like you to recognize the real fear and devastation that ICE raids are causing to this community every week. I also have seen families being torn apart and people losing their breadwinners, people losing their family members, passing away in detention centers, and we are not okay with that. The entire Inland Empire is watching Montclair right now, and we just wanted to let you know we stand by the community, and we do not agree with what's going on. So I am here to urge you all to take action and adopt the following. So I urge you to create a fund for families that are affected by ICE, which have been many families in Montclair, so that they can access support when their primary breadwinners are taken from them. If other cities such as El Monte can do so with their initiatives, we can do so here as well. I also urge you to establish and enforce a policy that bans ICE from staging on any city property and enforce SB 54, which is also known as the California Values Act. I don't need to explain it to you all, but it does prohibit police from inquiring about immigration status, so we need to follow through with that as the city council. Furthermore, I urge you all to prohibit any city contracts with contractors providing services or goods for data collection with ICE. So this includes flock. Flock cameras are being used to track citizens and surveil citizens. And the fact that this can be easily accessed by ICE and other law enforcement agencies is scary. It's very frightening. So we need to be able to hold ourselves accountable for who we make contracts with. Montclair, I'm gonna reiterate, but Montclair has been hit very hard. As you can see with all the signs we're holding up, this is just a little bit of what's been going on. So we wanna be able to recognize again the harms that have been done to this community and prevent further harm. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sante, followed by Alexis Teodoro.
Good evening, Montclair. My name is Maria Sante. I hope you guys remember me. I was here March 16, and I addressed you guys regarding Border Patrol incidents. But we were laughed at. But I have a couple things to address. John, you owe your community an apology for failing them. Governing bodies, besides no one else besides Ms. Martinez here, wanted to give us more time to speaking, which is fine. Don't worry, 3 minutes is enough to tell you exactly what's going on in this community. Truth is, you have blood on your hands, whether you want to admit it or you don't. And I think that the cities that allowed Border Patrol, criminals that came and rammed a truck, a vehicle, a 3-pounded vehicle onto a man in a bike, and on a bicycle should be held accountable. That's attempted murder. And the people that allowed them here should also be held accountable. Joel, have you checked on him? There's only $250 on his GoFundMe right now. And just like my friend here said, that yeah, we did see your donation, but it takes a lot more than $100. Because if $100 could fix the problem, we would have already put it in there. What about Humberto? Have you checked on his children? I'm sure they attend Montclair schools. Have you checked on his kids? Maybe they're receiving the therapy? Because I know firsthand what it's like to have a parent taken from you, and it will damage you for life. And you want to know why you don't care? Any of you guys? Any of you guys? Is because all your family is home safe tonight. Ms. City Attorney, do you have any relationships with the ACLU attorneys? Are you guys in any immigration ad hoc committees? Do you guys care about your immigration 72% popularity? The vendidos, the ones with the Latino last names, Lopez, Mendez, Martinez. Where's the special meeting at? Where's the special meeting? Who's gonna bring a special meeting forward so we could see who's gonna refuse it? So I'm worried about your community right now. They're suffering. Your departments are suffering. But it's not about you right now. It's about the people in the detention centers that need your help, legal help, monetary help. Because if we put our lives at risk, we have families too. We don't have your positions. We don't have your resources. We don't have your fiscal budgets. Did you know that your PD department was on the phone with the Border Patrol agent? You don't, because you don't know anything that's going on in your city. Apparently, I would cross a desert for my kids, and I'm sure you would too. This is, like I said, we're gonna keep coming back till you put some action in place.
Hi, good evening, Council. My name is Alexis Teodoro. I live on Geneva, which is literally right here.
Yes, the next person is Alexis Teodoro, followed by Priscilla.
Thank you. State your name, please.
My name is Alexis Teodoro. I live here on Geneva, which is a 2-minute walk from here. I pay taxes in Montclair. I would like to urge the mayor and the entire council to support what the people are asking for, which there's a flyer that's asking for a fund for $300,000 for economic support and a legal defense fund for immigrant impacted families. I work in Pomona, but I live in Montclair, and I was reading some of the biographies from the council, and Mayor, on your biography, you mentioned that your parents are immigrants, and they came to Montclair. When you think of this issue, you should be thinking of your parents, because those of us that are children of immigrants, we need to pay it forward to those that came before us. And the decisions we make now impact the next 7 generation of children. I heard a lot of Latino surnames on the little kids that were awarded. Please think of those parents when you think of this issue. This is not about politics. This is about human rights, the humanity and dignity of us immigrants whose lives also matter. Pro-Mayor Corisa Martinez, you went to Loyola Marymount Law School. I work with the Human Trafficking Division of that law school. Please think of the values that law school inculcates in the law students. that you went to that school, please leave those values and support the $300,000 fund. And I want to mention something that really bothered me because this is the first time I'm in this council meeting and I live in the same zip code and block as this building. I heard in the beginning of anybody that spoke Spanish, go to the lobby. The interpretation was over there, outside of the main lobby here. It bothered me because most of the city councils in Southern California provide simultaneous interpretation. I am gonna forward you, the city attorney and the clerk, materials around what's called language justice. You cannot do that in 2026. While it may not appear as bad, it sounds separate but equal. It's basic to provide language justice so people can understand the issues that are going on. And if you have a more than 70+% Latino community and you're asking them to go to the lobby, that's a point of reflection there. I would like to end my comment with supporting the women. Sir, if you've been accused of sexual harassment, you should resign immediately. And women need to be respected. Or two men, regardless of the sexual harassment, you should step down, sir. It's unacceptable. You're not a leader for children. Please get him to resign. And let's focus on the real issues here. The Latino community is suffering. The immigrant community is suffering. Please focus on this issue. Thank you.
Andrea, we do have a Spanish translator in the room. If someone wishes to speak Spanish at the podium, we do have a translator. Am I correct, Andrea?
Yes, the translator is providing the translations in the lobbies just so that the audio does not interfere with the meeting.
Okay,
so
but we have a speaker that comes to the
Yes,
podium,
and-
he speaks
yes.
Spanish. There is somebody else in this room.
Yes.
Can interpret what they're.
Deputy City Clerk.
Okay,
will
that'll be the Deputy
assist
City
with
Clerk.
that,
Okay,
yes.
just want to clarify that. Thank you very much. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Community. As I mentioned the last time I was here, my name is Priscilla. I'm a concerned neighbor, a local volunteer, and a proud graduate of Montclair High School. It's annoying to have to justify why we're here and why our point of view matters, as if just living a street over makes our care invalid. So I just keep repeating that just to justify why we're here. But I think an important part about me having grown up in Montclair, because I did spend my formative years here, is that this is where I understood the value of community care, civic duty, and basic kindness. And above all, I learned the seriousness of expressing our thoughts and expressing them well. That words aren't just words, they have meaning. So I was very saddened and angered when the last time I was here, the mayor responded to our comments, our firsthand experiences really, about ICE taking at least 44 people by saying that what we described allegedly happened. While that might seem like a simple phrase, it landed as dismissive, as not believing the statements made by concerned community members who have witnessed firsthand how ICE is destroying our families and community. Do you think we want to be here vulnerable, expressing our pain and making up trauma? We're not just here saying people died because we want to. Irvin's family deserves more than that. I asked for at least a formal apology, at the very least, recognizing that as an elected official, the mayor should help constituents feel supported and welcome to speak their concerns. You just asked for clarification about where the interpretation is happening. We know it's happening, but the fact that it's happening outside of the room for some folks is not inclusive. Okay, you might have it, it's performative. So if you really want us to be heard, to feel heard, it has to be on display all the time and in practice, in the room where you're at. Since you made those words, made that statement, Mayor, or someone on your behalf, I don't know, someone or you donated $100 to Irving's GoFundMe. Thank you for that. As was said previously, we're not here for personal contributions only. We're not here for personal acts of niceness or kindness. We're here to ask for accountability and systemic change. I do want to acknowledge that the mayor wrote a lengthy email to me, but in the email, he fails to acknowledge ICE's impact on our community. He does not commit to providing adequate support to affected families. Instead, the mayor defers to federal policy and states, and I quote, "A real and lasting solution is the establishment of a pathway to legal residency for law-abiding, tax-paying, and contributing immigrants." I'm not even gonna deconstruct the issues with that statement. Mayor Dutry, Council, there is much that can be done to help our community that does not rely on federal policy. Today, we're here to help you out by giving you one suggestion, amongst others. Take the example set by other cities like Pomona and provide financial support to our families. We demand that you create a $300,000 fund for families affected by kidnapping raids so they can access support when primary earners are taken from them. And as a reminder, all systems of oppression are connected. So yes, Ben, you might sit here.
Thank you. And Crystal, I appreciate you sending the email. I appreciate you sending the email with some clarification of some of the comments we made at the last meeting. So thank you for doing that. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Phoebe, followed by Melissa Morales.
I am a concerned neighbor and local volunteer. I'm also a teacher at schools for general ed and special education. Since June 2025 until March of this year, at least 44 people have been kidnapped in Montclair. Every morning, there is a threat that they will witness a family member or friend taken by masked men who refuse to identify themselves. Often the kidnappings take place before sunrise, and that's pretty scary if you can't see the person that's kidnapping you. The actions that ICE are taking in the city of Montclair pose a public safety and public health issue. Not only do they kidnap our friends and family, they drive erratically and recklessly. The mayor said that this allegedly happened. Well, we are here to speak up and defend the truth. While you continue to remain silent, Council and Mayor, Montclair becomes increasingly unsafe, our families fearful, and ultimately we will see those effects in our city's culture and economy. Today we demand the City Council to do the following. Create a fund for families affected by ICE kidnappings, raids, so they can access support when primary earners are taken from them. We are asking for at least $300,000 so that families can receive amounts that make a difference. Every day when I go into a school, there's kids that they recently just lost their parents due to ICE. They're devastated. I can see the trauma in their faces. They don't want to play recess. They're alone in the corner. I try my best to, make them happy, cheer them up, but it does not compare to the pain that they are going through.
Next is Melissa Morales, followed by Emily Miranda.
Mayor Javier, elected officials of this city council, I am here today as a 10-year taxpaying resident of a neighboring city who shops and conducts business in your city. I am here to support the demand to create a fund for the families affected by ICE. I mean, you guys are paying legal and liability fees for that man sitting there accused of sexual harassment. It's the least you can do. I'm here to support the demand to create a fund for the families affected by ICE. I hope that as an elected representative who serves the city and his constituents as mayor since 2018 and as a council member since 1996, you have now educated yourself since the March 16th meeting regarding the illegal abductions and ICE harassment activities in your city. It is your job to educate yourself so that they are no longer allegations, but have now become facts. As a neighboring resident and someone who is privileged with access to the internet, I can tell you that our community has severely been affected and targeted. They have been impacted. 44 kidnappings and 1 death has been recorded since June of last year. This is 1.1 kidnappings for every 1,000 people from your population of 37,502, which 70% is recorded as Hispanics or Latino per the 2020 census. Most kidnappings occurred from Monte Vista to Mills, between Kingsley and Ramona. Most residents targeted and abducted are the hardworking breadwinners and constituents of your city's economy. They leave behind spouses and children with trauma who cannot afford to continue living in the city. and are forced to turn to mutual aid or GoFundMe to be able to survive through others' kindness. You need to do better. You need to help your taxpaying constituents so that they may be able to access the support and continue to live and thrive in your city. We also need to establish and enforce a policy that bans staging on city property like other cities have done. ICE has staged near their indoor swap meet, a place where a lot of your constituents shop. It is not okay to allow outsiders to come into our neighborhoods, stage in our cities, and terrorize our residents. We ask that you prohibit city contracts with contractors that provide services or goods for data collection with immigration enforcement agencies. It is not okay to use our tax-paying dollars to hunt and hurt our neighbors. This has been done in other cities like Linwood. We also ask why Monte Vista to Mills, Kingsley to Holt has been targeted so much. ICE must stop endangering our community with reckless behavior and must be held accountable for endangering our community. And don't forget, we are your constituents. We vote you in or we vote you out.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Emily Miranda, followed by Caitlin Shaw.
My name is Emily Miranda. Talking about this is very emotional for me. I'm a resident of Montclair. I live within those blocks. I have spent most of my life here. My family's here. I deeply regret that it took me this long to come here. But like so many of my neighbors and my community members, we're balancing trying to exist, trying to live through this, and to hear you say that those were allegations when you know for a fact, because you rolled it back so quickly, that you drove through those same streets after you heard about it, it is heartbreaking. And I am already so deeply saddened. So much of my community is. The same thing, there's community that is sitting out there. And I know it's the first time where you had to think about your constituents that are Spanish speakers. Before I asked for the same demands that my friends have asked for, but I also urge you to actually sit down with all of the families and the community members that are impacted, to speak with them on their terms at a time that works for them, because we are working families, balancing multiple things, and you have made no attempt to do that. I have not seen you driving through the neighborhood. I have not seen you trying to sit down with those families at all. So before any of that, I need you to do that. Your faces during this whole meeting is the reason why so many members don't want to even come in here, because they feel disillusioned. But I know after today, some that are watching, that are listening and seeing how the meeting is going, more are going to come. That's the first thing I want to say. But just so that it is on record on some of the things that have occurred, I'm going to try to talk through some of the things that I have seen, just walking outside of my door, just driving through my neighborhood, just trying to make it from home to work. It has happened consistently, sometimes twice a week, sometimes more. I am an educator and a mental health worker, and I am at a loss. So I can only imagine how the youth and the families that are going through this every day, I know we're all at a fucking loss. On October 22nd, when I was on my way from home to work, I saw 6 masked men surrounding a vehicle. They took him that day, and they took someone that was a citizen who was trying to protect his friend. Those men told me that they love what they do. They assaulted him, they kicked him, they punched him, they choked him. The person that they took that day, that man told me that he loves what he does, he is no longer here. He was a father of 4 children and a husband and a beloved family member. He is no longer here. He spent over 5 months in Adelanto, only got to be with his family for 2 weeks. He is no longer here. And you have said nothing, you have done nothing to support those families. Even your faces now, you don't seem fazed by it, but I want it to be on record.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Your 3 minutes is up. Okay, let's have our next speaker, please. Your 3 minutes is up. Ma'am, you're disrupting the meeting. I'm going to have to ask you to sit down, please. Okay. We're going to have a 5-minute break. Thank you. 5-minute break. We have a 5-minute break. Chief. No, we have a 5-minute break. Chief. All right. We have a 5-minute break. The city council's on a break. Chief, please resolve this issue. Okay, here's the deal. Everybody.
Montclair Police Department has known about this the whole time. So for you to act like you do not know, you're the most incompetent government that there is, city council, and you're just lying. So you're gonna have to face up to it.
Okay, under California Government Code Section 5957.95, any additional authority exercised pursuant to the presiding member of the legislative body conducting a meeting or designed or may remove or cause removal of an individual or disrupting the meeting. So at this time, guys, we have a 5-minute recess. Everybody had 3 minutes to speak. You're disrupting the meeting. I understand the emotions here. I understand the issue here. But we... Okay. City Attorney Robbins, could you please step in for a second? Okay, ma'am, you're our order. Chief, please escort this person out of the room. Hey. Okay, understand, guys. Excuse me. If you continue on under Section 54957 of the Government Code, I'm going to declare this room to be emptied. Everybody's got in this room is going to have to vacate this room under Section Government Code 5945.7. So this is what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a break, and we're going to allow other people to speak here. Okay, so right this time, I'd like to take a break. City Council, we're on a 5-minute break, and we'll go from there. And City Attorney Robbins, and Police Chief, can I talk to you, please? Thank you.
notes there.
Are you talking about me, Bill? There's a word for that, defamation.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting back to order. Appreciate everybody's patience. The last speaker, where is she? The woman that spoke previously? Is she still here? The last speaker? Come to the podium, please. Okay, City Attorney If I allow this last speaker to speak more than 3 minutes, I have to allow other speakers also speak more than 3 minutes. Am I correct?
That would possibly be the interpretation. But one suggestion would be if everyone would like, and I didn't catch your name, to speak on behalf of everybody else, that would be certainly something that we could do for a longer period of time.
Let me ask you a question. How much more time you need to speak? How much more time you need? You need another additional 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Okay, I'm gonna do this. We're gonna stick with the 3 minutes. I suspect she's the only speaker. Does anybody else need to speak more than 3 minutes? Okay, we're gonna give you 3 more minutes to speak, and we're gonna adhere to the 3 minutes. I realize that by allowing you to speak more than 3 minutes, under the Brown Act, you can exercise your right now to speak longer than 3 minutes. So, I'll go ahead and I'll give you 3 more minutes. Go ahead. Sorry for interruption, but please go ahead.
I'm just going to continue with what I've seen, what has gone on in the community so that it's on record, and then I'll say my thoughts on your reaction to everything. But I was saying, a week later, after they took Irving Cruz Nape and they took Nestor Palomero, they also took, a week later, there was a car abandoned with its window broken outside of the Arco on Montevista and Holt. The son was left inside of the car. He called Pomona Police Department to protect his family. Those same masked men took his father. When the police came, that officer, after he was able to move his truck out of the street on his own, that police officer came and told him that there had to be a reason why they took his father. That they don't just stop no one for no reason. When in reality, they stopped him because he had a truck with tools in the back. That same police officer told me, well, they're still on Ramona, so I'm gonna head over there. That is what he told me. They took at least 2 more people from Ramona that day. We found nieces crying that their uncle was taken. 16 years old. She saw that, and it wasn't the first time she had seen it in her neighborhood. That police officer knew where they were at, and he knew that they were still going. And he still thought that there was a reason, a justified legal reason why they took that man. There was no reason. It is racial profiling. They know that this is a compact neighborhood where people are going to work in the early mornings. They have to walk to their vehicles. Your police department has known about this. They have done nothing to protect it. They left that son without offering him any kind of protection, any type of comfort. They did none of that. But yet every weekend, they're giving parking tickets to that same community that is having their family taken. So where is the priorities at? It's not in serving that community. I strongly believe that you do not see South Montclair as important. The same way you're doing what you're doing, and it's not about the city clerk, because she called me, she tried to make sure that this was something new, that there was going to be accommodations for Spanish speakers, but it speaks to the larger picture. You disregard this community. You do not care about them. You do not see them as important. While they have been kidnapped and abducted, and you've known, you still had your police department going out there and giving parking tickets. I can go on, because from that moment that I seen them, it did not.
Thank you. Regarding the last speaker, if you can contact us, the police chief. We can look into this incident you're speaking of that took place. You feel free to do that. And and then as far as meeting the families, I'll be happy to go out and meet the families. Already met some families in the area, but I'll be happy to meet some families. Thank you. All right, next speaker, please. Next speaker, please.
Right, the next speaker is Caitlin Shaw, followed by Phoenix Nerez.
Hi there, I'm Caitlin, and I'm a Montclair resident, and I would just really encourage compassion. There are people whose lives have been torn apart in our city, and I think the anger in my emotion is that it feels like you don't even know, and that you're not witnessing it. And you can't try to help a problem until you've witnessed it, until you see it in its entirety. So I'm just encourage some compassion and to be present in this, in our community. This is our home. And in front of my home, which is not in the neighborhood that we are speaking about today, it's outside of that, someone was kidnapped in front of my home, going to work, and it doesn't make me feel safe that masked people in front of my home took someone who was going to work, right? It affects us all. Yes, my family is intact here, but I now live in more fear, and my city feels less safe, right? And so I would just, as a resident, I'm done with ICE targeting our community and the unlawful abductions. They are an emergency that's impacting the entire city. Think about the effects of what's happening in our schools. How are these kids supposed to learn when they're worried if their parents are home or not? And then if they're not home, how are they surviving? How are they feeding their kids? We can imagine the difficulties, right? So I'm encouraging you to please create a support fund for families who have been affected by losing their primary breadwinner, to establish and enforce a policy that bans ICE from staging on city property like other cities have done. Prohibit city contracts with contractors that provide services and goods for data collection with immigration enforcement agencies, including flock cameras. Please find out why the neighborhoods of Monte Vista to Mills, Kingsley to Holt have been targeted so much, and demand accountability from ICE. ICE must stop endangering our community with its restless behavior. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next comment is Phoenix, followed by Exoken. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, and fellow residents, I'm a Montclair resident here today because I witnessed a disgraceful display of leadership at our last meeting, when a community member stood at this podium to express legitimate heart-wrenching concerns regarding ICE activity, and she was met with coldness and condescension. You asked the speaker to provide information and follow protocol, yet you have turned a blind eye when federal agents act as judge, jury, and executioner on our streets. When agents act illegally, when they terrorize families and bypass due process, they are not enforcing law, they're violating it. And by staying silent, you are all complicit in that violation. So we are no longer asking for consideration. We are presenting demands to ensure the safety and integrity of this city. We expect the council to act on the following. We demand the immediate establishment of a $300,000 emergency fund. This money is to support the families of those who have been kidnapped and disappeared by federal agencies, to provide them with their families with legal resources and basic support. We demand a policy that explicitly bans ICE from staging, parking, or conducting operations on any city-owned property. Our public infrastructure will not be used to facilitate human rights violations and abuses. We demand that the city immediately terminate all contracts with vendors that provide data sharing services to immigration enforcement. This includes the removal of flock cameras and any other surveillance technology that feeds the deportation machine. We do not want our tax dollars used to track our neighbors. In addition, we demand a citywide policy prohibiting agents from using masks or obscured identities while operating within city limits. If they are acting as law enforcement, they must be identifiable and accountable. And lastly, I am asking for the immediate resignation of the mayor on grounds that he is unfit to serve the people of Montclair. The woman you dismissed last time started a conversation that you cannot simply shut down. We are organized, we are determined, and we will continue to challenge you until our city is safe for every resident, regardless of their status, and you are replaced with someone who is truly for the people, who can lead with kindness, compassion, and listen to people's concerns with civility and understanding. Do not mistake our passion for lack of focus. We know exactly what is happening, and we know exactly what we need from you. We expect these demands to be placed on the agenda for the next meeting. Thank you.
Is Ashokan, followed by Benjamin Wood.
Hi, I'm Ashokan. I'm here to remind you that you're on native land, so I'm going to recognize the Quiche Nation, the Tongva people, the Shoshone of Gabrielino missions, also Yuhavatam of San Miguel missions. And I say that to remind you of the original settler colonialism, occupation of the Spanish, which you have a direct lineage of. And I just read that your parents are immigrants of Spain and France. So you yourself are an immigrant. Let me remind you of that. I'm sure your parents didn't check with any native nation to be here, like most Europeans that never checked in with any native nation. So all of you, unless you have direct lineage and a direct connection to native indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, you're here on stolen land. This is an illegal occupation. The time will come when everything that you say on record will be remembered. Right now, there's a live genocide in 4K of Palestine. Israel's committing a real genocide, so we get to see what that looks like right now. But let me remind you, the largest genocide in world history is of the Western Hemisphere, over 200 million people, and that is continuing today with ICE. ICE is no different than what the IDF first started doing. ICE is no different than what the Gestapo and the SS soldiers of Nazi Germany started doing. It is no different of what the Buffalo Soldiers or the Union or the Southern Federation did with the Trail of Tears, with the Manifest Destiny. We see the same administration right now reclaiming that racism, reclaiming that pride of genocide. And if you all stand with ICE today, you're all as guilty. You're no different than the Nazis, and we will have trials. Thank you.
Is Benjamin Wood, followed by Cassie Francis Mora.
Hello, Ben. How you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, city staff, and beloved community. My name is Benjamin Wood, and I've been living here in Montclair, the beautiful city of Montclair, for about 15 years. But tonight, I'm here in my official capacity as the legal director at the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice. We're based in San Bernardino, but we bring together some 35 nonprofit community organizations, labor unions, faith-based groups, student organizations, and legal service providers from across Riverside and San Bernardino counties. We deal with a lot of different issues, but affecting the immigrant community. We have a particular focus on the Adelanto Detention Center and all the injustices that happen there, as well as working very closely with our street vending members of our community. We also, especially since January of last year, operate a hotline where community members call to report suspected ICE and CBP activity or to ask for help when a loved one has been taken. We also coordinate a network of volunteer legal observers and rapid responders who, at a moment's notice, they rush to the scene to document what's going on. They provide resources for the families affected by the terror that's inflicted on them by these lawless agents who just run amok in our neighborhoods. I saw the city council meeting from 3 weeks ago when some of these brave individuals who are on the front lines every day, they had their experience questioned. So when I found out that folks would be back today on the same issue tonight, I asked our data manager for some of the numbers from our hotline and our database, specifically concerning the city of Montclair. But I just want to let you know that the numbers that we have, we use a very specific methodology to get these numbers, and this is just a quick pull. It's not a deep crunch of data, and it's not in any way intended to undermine or contradict any of the data that are shared by other groups. So since January of 2025 up to the present, these are from this morning, we have a total of 72 reported incidents. That includes both confirmed arrests and sightings. Out of those, there have been 15 confirmed arrests. Confirmed means that a family member or a friend called in to report the arrest directly to us, and we were able to get biographical information and in some cases additional details of the arrest. And I have 15 locations for those 15 confirmed arrests, but I would not be surprised if it was somewhere between 44 that other community members have been mentioning and 72 that we have documented. I personally provide consultations to individuals in Adelanto. We go at least once a week, my staff and I, and admittedly, there's not much that cities can do to limit the actions of the federal government. We can have good policies, but it's really not enough. What our community needs are legal services from trusted providers. We can host community know your rights resource fairs, but attorneys' fees are really just out of reach for the members of our working class community. So there have often been disappointed by the actions and inactions of some of the members of this council, but I know you have good hearts. Except for Mr. Lopez, I know the members of this council have good hearts, and you.
I think, I just want to state that someone from your organization did reach out to myself by email this morning. I don't know if you're aware of it or not. So we'll be having a meeting with that person, with the group he's going to bring, and I think he said he was going to bring one Montclair family with him as well. So if you want to reach out to me who that was, feel free to send me an email and I'll get you that information. Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker is Cassie Francis Mora, followed by Jonathan Chavez.
This morning. Good evening to the City of Montclair community and the council members. I come on 2 notes, and I think I just added this last one just over the course of this time being in this meeting today. But the first one is in full support of the Fire Service Department and all that the teams do on a regular basis, day to day, to serve our community members. I come as not only a wife, I come as a mother, a community member and resident of the city, as well as a business owner. And to me, it's important to really uplift and prioritize public safety in our communities. And I do believe that the concerns that were raised and the issues that are starting to really become apparent when it comes to fire service at this time and that were mentioned earlier in this meeting need to be heard, not only heard, recognized, but also addressed and prioritized in the city in the concern of public safety. The second note I'd like to also say tonight is that I am a daughter of immigrants, and so hearing all that has been uplifted and talked about this evening, I know touches my heart and it touches everybody else. So I want us all to remember that when it comes to systems accountability, we show up first as individuals with hearts, and compassion has been mentioned many times tonight, and I believe that first it takes sometimes overriding rules like time and knowing that at the end of the day, it's about humanity and the people. So, yeah, thank you for my time, and peace, y'all.
Okay, next is Jonathan Chavez, followed by Omar Carrillo.
Good evening, Montclair. We're here tonight to continue to oppose the San Antonio bike and walking path. Over the past 8 years, we have seen and continue to see homelessness, fires, theft, break-ins of homes, properties, businesses, overdoses, deaths from what is now to be a walking bike trail. This does not benefit the community and its residents. No amount of money offered to us for parts of our property would change that. We are well aware that the city loves grant money, but with no accountability thus far. And no safety has taken into consideration for the residents that have to deal with the ongoing issues. Do not proceed with the project. Ed Sar.
Next is Omar Carrillo, followed by Louis Hernandez.
Hi, my name is Omar Carrillo. So I'm here with the same thing, the San Antonio Creek project. So it's proposed this project would directly affect my property size, value built in, because due to built structures that are currently in place. So due to this project, I'm in place to lose approximately 800 square feet of my property. So the company Epic Solutions that the city of Montclair choose to partner with, they are very vague about the exact details of what's gonna go on the trail project. So they send blueprints that are very vague. I sent it to family members that currently work with blueprints, I'm sorry, and they're extremely vague. They don't detail anything on what exactly is gonna be taken and where the property lines begin and where they end. So the ridiculous offer of $1,500 for 800 square feet of my property. So, I mean, I would love for anybody to give up 800 square feet of the property for $1,500. That's ridiculous. So, quite honestly, it's a disrespect to myself and my neighbors, and it's just something that should not be moved forward with. So, this project would directly affect our quiet, no traffic neighborhood. It will attract more transient problem that we currently deal with. So we currently deal with fires, we deal with deaths. We call it into the city, and then they say they can't do anything about it due to it being county property. So they won't step in, they won't do anything unless it's a fire. So we're getting constant. The past year, we've had at least 2 to 3 fires directly in my backyard. So I've had transients that live behind my house. I've had up to 7 tents that are behind my home. And I fear for my kids to go outside and anything for them to happen to my kids. So, sorry, and like my fellow little community members, we need to get ICE out of here. That's just ridiculous. And due to just the issues of what happened now, I mean, I'm gonna speak about the elephant in the room. Council member spoke about the fact that another council member spoke to the community. And now he's saying it's unconstitutional to speak to the people. So only when it affects you is when it's okay. So if you support ICE, that's completely against the Constitution. Completely. So only when it does affect you, it becomes an issue. So I see no issue with the council member speaking to the community, and you did. And you decided to speak about it when it wasn't being recorded. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir. The last speaker, what part of, where in Montclair are you? I don't need an address or anything. What section are you speaking of? What street or? Southern part of Montclair off a Holt in the Oakland? Okay, got it. Thank you. South of Holt. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
All right, sorry, and after this will be Juan Armas.
Members of the council, I'm going to be brief. I'm kind of nervous right now. Not just to be talking about people.
Just relax. Don't worry about it.
And all right, I live on Oakland Avenue for about 20 years already. And I just received this on my mail about like a few weeks ago. And it's about the project that they're gonna do by the creek. On my house, they're gonna try to get about 1,429 square feet. And they also offer me $1,500 for it. Consider myself kind of a hard working people, and the problem that I have is that now the future of my family and my son is gonna be in danger since they're gonna try to get that part of my house away. Um, there's there's a lot of things probably that the city can do as in that area as a protection. We always suffering about people walking around, not the right light, and also like they're always stealing. There's a train coming. There's a train like running right kind of close to our house. It's always stealing. We always wake up with noises at night. People try to get in our houses. Um, Cars that get stole, prostitution. So it might be better, on my opinion, just try to get that money and try to fix the problems that we already have instead of like make more problems for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Juan Armas, followed by Anhana Patel. Juan Armas.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and City Council member and people of Montclair. My name is Anjana Patel and I'm here for discuss about San Antonio Trail Project. I'm very glad to our city going to start a great project in our community, and for that city will acquire some part of our land from our residential area, and for that city will pay us for that, but we feel that amount is not fair enough, and even one thing, they acquire our garage and the build property as well, so we are not happy with that. And my previous friend, they told us about all things, so maybe that one happen in future as well. So I request to City of Montclair that they reevaluate that project, and if they can stop it, then it's good for our community. Thank you very much.
Anna Patel, followed by Anjana, followed by Trayvon Newman after that.
I'm Juan Armas. I'm also talking about the little project I want to do behind my house on Oak Glen. There's been a lot of fires, lots of homeless activities, lots of tents back there. They've broken into my house. We've chased them away many times. And I think you guys' project is just gonna make it a little worse. More traffic, you know?
Trayvon Newman, and then Edmund Garcia Sr.
Hey guys, I'm Trayvon, Mayor, everybody. You know, I've been to a couple of these these council meetings, and one thing I'll say is I think the community has already spoken of what they want. If we don't like what's going on, we have to vote people out. And that's just the bottom of it. Coming up here screaming, it's not gonna do it. But it's up to us. We hold the power. We have to take back our community. We have to start doing stuff the way it was done way back when my parents were around. My great-grandparents, you know. As far as the ICE goes, my dad got killed in front of me when I was 10, murdered with his head blown off. I didn't know what I was looking at. So if these kids are going through that, you know how much trauma that is? Like, I'm 40 years old and I still wake up with sweats. I'm scared to sleep in the same room as my kids. I can't even sleep next to my wife sometimes. So when a child goes through that type of trauma, it has long impacts. Even into college, I went to Arizona State and played ball. I couldn't even focus. My focus was off. So I don't know about y'all, I'm tired of marching. We march way too much, man. My wife is Mexican. I eat a lot of food, so I'm not marching no more. My stomach hurts all the time. All that good food she eating, I'm not marching. We, like I said earlier, as a collective, we have to do something. Now, if this isn't working, get them out of here. It's that simple. is we put people in office, we can get them out. We have a thing called term limits. I know I do petitions. I just talked to the chief of police about this. I've been doing this stuff for a long time, and I go to different places. I got Josh Newman out of office because he was messing up parts of Orange County. If you guys don't want these people here, get them out. It's just that simple. It's not we screaming and yelling, then we all gonna be in jail. What's that gonna do for you if you're in jail behind yelling at the mayor? The mayor can't do nothing. These mayors, just the same thing I said about Aquanetta, Warren, and Fontana. They cannot do anything. They have to ask for help in certain cases, especially with certain type of stuff that we need. Ice sucks. Only ice I like is the ice in my coffee, and sometimes I don't even like that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you have to pray. You have to ask God to get this stuff because these people don't. God runs this. This is His domain. So you have to remember there's a lot of evil in this world. And with all this stuff that's going on, vote these people out. If you're not registered to vote, find me after this. I'll register you. But you need to be registered to vote to have a voice and get these people out of here. If it's not working, get them out, all of them. Because this world is not even ours. This is God's land. And if they're not going to work, I'm Native American. I was here too. I was here first. My people was. So if it's not going to work, get them out. There's no yelling. There's no bail need to be built. Because you do all this, they're going to lock you up. Vote them out.
Yep. Recall Ben Lopez.
Okay, the last speaker in the council chambers we have a card for is Edmund Garcia Sr., and then I have 2 comments to read.
Good evening, fellow neighbors, council members. I see a lot of passion in this room. You know, people concerned about ICE, people concerned about their neighborhoods, people concerned about the walking paths. You know, yeah, I understand, you know, you got your 3 minutes, you know, to come up here and say, but again, like the gentleman was saying before me, you know, as a neighborhood, we can be united. You know, where something's not working out for us, we can stand together. You know, it's not just for one of us, it's for all of us. That being said, I was really upset the way the last meeting went. It wasn't just about all the controversy with the ICE people and stuff. It was when we got to speak here, you know, I got to say my little spiel, and then I got my 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever it was. But then I got to hear Councilmember Lopez at the end go on and rant for 5, 10 minutes about him being innocent, and it's not him, and it's everybody else, everybody else's fault. No accountability, again. We have no integrity. And it's not that he did anything wrong, it's somebody is an imposter, somebody used his name, somebody used his bank account. He'd rather have all of us here believe that he's that important that somebody's gonna go into his bank account, somebody's gonna risk jail and prison to go into his bank account and create a fake account so that he can harass the people or the employees of Montclair. That's what he wants you guys to believe. That's what people are sitting here being compassionate, saying, okay, yeah, maybe it is true. Even though he was in front of a judge and he had no proof. He had no proof. He had this opportunity to go in front of the judge, to bring proof, and he didn't. And all it is hearsay. Anybody can sit there and say, I was targeted, I was this, I was that, but you had no proof. And you want us to believe that the employees who brought the allegations against you were lying, when it was always you. And then you still won't do the right thing and sit down or stand down. So now every day that they got to come to work, they still got to be tormented by you. And you still sit there with your smug look. And you still sit there like nothing's gonna bother you. You know, and that's a concern for all of us to have here. When that is the type of leadership that's up there, who can sit there behind a lie and just stand behind it, trying to fool you guys, trying to fool all of us, that's the change we need. And I'm here to stand beside you. If you guys have a problem with the
Yes, now I have the two written comments. The first one is from HS. Hello, I wish to leave a public comment imploring the city of Montclair and step up and make changes to stop ICE from terrorizing its residents. Dozens of people have taken in less than a year, and the city has a responsibility to protect them. Something must be done. Montclair is better than this. Please protect our community. Thank you. And then the next comment is by Jennifer Smith. Since 2025, ICE, CBP, ERO have kidnapped at least 44 people from our community, individuals surrounded by vehicles, detained by masked agents who refuse to identify themselves, and forced into unmarked cars. 44 people who did not go home, whose families are missing a loved one, and whose lives were altered in minutes. Those are only the confirmed cases. Legal observers estimate the number may be closer to 60. Most incidents have occurred between Monte Vista and Mills, from Kingsley to Ramona, often within minutes and as early as 5 a.m. In many cases, the only evidence left behind is an abandoned car with no information or support for those affected. ICE has caused accidents, left cars in the middle of the road. They do not provide warrants and admit to profiling people based on skin color, occupation, and language. In October, they kidnapped a community member, claiming he looked like someone they were looking for. He was held for 4 months and died shortly after his release. Had ICE not detained him, he would likely still be alive. Despite this, the City Council has not publicly acknowledged these incidents or addressed their impact on our community. Those are all the comments.
Great, thank you. Before we move on, Ed, there were a couple things, Ed, regarding Oakland, the San Antonio project. Have we issued something to that neighborhood?
Well, Mr. Mayor, Council, as you know, the city has been attempting to acquire easement rights.
Right.
Okay, so let's make it clear, the city is not attempting to acquire property. We are only attempting to acquire easement rights. And the easement rights are within the existing easement area that is already controlled by the Army Corps of Engineers. We would only be a overlay on top of the existing easements. So when you're talking about a $1,500 acquisition cost, it has nothing to do with the acquiring property, only layering on top of an already existing easement that is held by the Army Corps of Engineers and maybe other entities as well, like the San Bernardino County Storm District. That may be an easement that is also on top of what we are already asking to apply. We won't own the land. We only have the right to go onto the land, or in the case, in relation to what is being discussed this evening, a linear park. Yes, the City Council has entertained and approved the San Antonio Creek Channel Project, which is a linear project that would go from North Montclair to South Montclair. There's already a segment of this park that is operating at Sunset Park. The linear park in that particular segment is overwhelmingly popular with the residents of that particular neighborhood. All you have to do is go down there any day of the week, and you will see the residents who are actively using not only Saratoga Park, but the linear park adjacent to it for the purposes of exercise and improvement of their health. And that is the objective of the San Antonio Creek Channel Park, to create an opportunity for residents of Montclair to use this park for walking, exercise, cycling, and to transition from South Montclair to North Montclair for the purposes of getting to the transit facility so that they can use Metrolink and hopefully one day light rail at the Trans Center, as well as all of the bus services that are operating out of the Trans Center. So that is the objective of the San Antonio Creek Trail project. But again, I need to emphasize, we're not buying land. We're only overlaying an easement on top of existing easements that have been there for decades, well before the city of Montclair started looking at this. In relation to the channel going south of Holt Boulevard, we are acquiring the easements, or at least we're in the process of trying to acquire the easements, but it's very unlikely that the San Antonio Creek Trail will go south of Holt Boulevard. So while I understand the concern of the residents who are here this evening that have been speaking about the issue, it's very unlikely because of the heavy traffic on Hope Boulevard that the trail will go south of that. But I think the real issue here, and from what I'm hearing from the residents who have spoken this evening, is that they've addressed an issue of homeless encampments on the trail that are behind their properties. The city doesn't have easements in that area, and so we don't have the right to go on to the existing trail that is used by the Army Corps of Engineers. But by acquiring the easements, that does give the city the opportunity then to go onto the San Antonio Creek Channel Trail and access it for the purposes of addressing homeless-related issues that are, particularly in the Oak Glen neighborhood, oftentimes quite heavy in that particular area. Without us acquiring the easements, then we have to get permission from the Army Corps of Engineers. That can take us weeks to get that. And so getting the easement will provide the city the ability to address the homeless issues in this area. But again, I emphasize, we're not buying land, we're only getting an easement on the land.
Okay, and obviously Rosemary from staff is open to talk to any of the owners who are here, and they can contact her and get better clarification and go from there. All right, thank you very much. The second question I have, I know we had a discussion regarding immigration enforcement. What direction has the city council given you on this issue at the last council meeting?
So my direction is to develop an agenda report to respond to the city council addressing the issues that have been addressed with the city council, both at the last meeting and from what I'm hearing this evening. Those issues will also be part of the agenda report that will be presented to the city council for consideration, including the issues related to ICE. Now, I need to make it clear, and I hope that the community understands, we feel the emotion in the room this evening. We heard it at the last meeting. And the community needs to understand that Montclair is a very compassionate community. I think that if you compare the services that this city provides to surrounding cities, including Pomona, that the level of services provided directly to the residents of this community, particularly through our Human Services Program, are so rich that no other community can compare to the quality of the services that are directly intended to outreach to the very members of the community that the audience here is speaking about. And that's not to not pay attention or to otherwise deflect from what they're asking of us this evening, because we hear the emotion, we hear what they're expressing. And I'm not trying to assuage their feelings by providing any commentary tonight that would make it sound as though I'm trying to provide excuses or defenses for the city, because that's not what this community does. We regularly go out and try to provide services directly to the...
Okay, ma'am, okay, I warned you once before, and I gave you time to speak. It's his time to speak now. Thank you.
So the issue that the woman is speaking of right now in relation to the ICE is a totally separate issue. And again, I'm not trying to excuse, but we all saw what happened in Minneapolis and many other cities in the nation. And people have to understand that the United States government exercises under the Supremacy Clause. The rules that the U.S. government operates under are supreme to what local governments and state governments operate under. If the U.S. government says that they're going to do something, there's very little that we can do. And we saw that play out in Minneapolis. Despite the fact that the state and the government, the local government in Minneapolis in particular, tried to address the issues, there was very little that they could do because the U.S. Okay, please, you had your opportunities. Please give me my opportunity. And then if the mayor wants to entertain additional comments from you. Okay.
All right. Okay, Ed, I think Ed, you made your comments, and I believe part of your report is what other cities are doing on this issue as well. Am I correct, Ed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
The one thing I do have to say in relation to the flock discussion tonight, the city does not use flock for the purposes that many people address tonight. We only use it for the purposes of law enforcement that benefits our ability to provide public safety for the community of Montclair. And I also have to say, in defense of the Montclair Police Department, they do not cooperate with ICE. Okay, ma'am, I don't lie, and I don't appreciate that you would accuse me of lying, particularly when you don't know me, and particularly when you don't know how I operate. But you know, you can make the statement if you want to that I'm lying, but that is on you, it's not on me. I don't lie, and I think that what I'm saying about the Montclair Police Department is that they do not directly engage with ICE. They're not allowed to under state law. The only way that they participate with ICE is that when there is a felon that is being released from prison and ICE wants to detain that individual, then the police department has no choice but to participate with ICE. But beyond that, the Montclair Police Department does not support and participate with ICE. Mr. Mayor, I conclude my comments.
Great, thank you. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll convene in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Regarding the language, council meeting.
I'm sorry, what?
Meeting going again. Please be seated if you can. We'll get the meeting going. And at this time, we're going to go down to where are we? Consent calendar. So I'm going to start with my
Mayor Detroit,
right.
I have a point of clarification, that's why I pressed the button.
Clarification for who?
Yes, please, for either you or the city manager. I just want to understand. So at the last meeting, I moved for an agenda item to be placed on tonight's agenda regarding the 4 issues that were raised by commenters at the last council meeting. There was no second, but then you did request for a staff report to be prepared. Now it sounds like there will be an agenda item. So is that agenda item going to address the 4 points that were made?
So I am working on the agenda report, yes, and I do understand that a request was made at the last council meeting, but I was also clear that because of the new agenda process, the agenda for this meeting had already been produced, and therefore there was not going to be an agenda item at this meeting. In addition to that, I again don't mean this to be an excuse, but I have a lot of things on my plate. I work 7 days a week as it is now, and I will get to this agenda report, and I will try to have it on the next meeting. But the council is the one that made the decision to have these agenda reports produced 6 weeks in advance, and that gives little flexibility to city staff.
Well, and I understand that, but what I'm asking is, will what's being placed on the next agenda include a discussion about this local support fund, adopting a policy that prohibits ICE from staging on public grounds, the contracts with companies, including data sharing, and then that 4th point, why Monte Vista to Mills and Kingsley to Hull are being targeted
All right, so
disproportionately.
these are new items that have been brought up this evening. They were not introduced at the last meeting, and they were not taken into consideration, although I have taken note of them this evening.
They were. The only
Well,
thing
not
that
all
was,
of them, not all of them.
all 4 of them were. The only thing that was changed was for the local support fund, a $300,000 figure was introduced, and the masks in the city is a new one.
So again, that's not all of them. So if I'm to be taking a comprehensive look at all of these issues, then I'm going to have to do some additional research on these, the $300,000. The city of Pasadena put $100,000 in the fund, and they're 5 times the size of the city of Montclair. So I have to look at what the city can afford. I have to look at the impacts on our budget. The current federal administration has had a serious impact on our economics, as it has for every city and every state in the nation. Revenues are down, and that just is the fact. So I have to take into consideration what the city is capable of doing, and that will be part of the response back to the city council, a recommendation as to what I believe that at this point in time the city can do. I will also point out that the city is actively looking at grants, which frankly is what most of these agencies have done. They haven't necessarily put deep into their pocket so much as they have asked for others to make donations to the funds that they establish. And they've also looked at other funding opportunities like grants, and that's what we will be doing. If we can reach $300,000 through grants and other sources, I would certainly make that recommendation. But I have to get to the point where I can see what kind of data is available for me to make those recommendations to the City Council. So again, the next agenda is already in the process of being produced. This is going to require some additional research for me to be able to respond to all these issues. If I'm to look at a policy related to ICE on city property, which we don't have the policy, and I'm not aware that ICE goes on city property, but if that's the case, then we can certainly look at that and address it. I will also say that the indoor swap meet is not in Montclair, it's in the city of Pomona. So the individual who made that statement this evening is incorrect. That's not in Montclair. We have no control over the indoor swap meet. Okay.
Excuse me,
All right.
hey, guys,
Ma'am,
you're
I understand how the city operates, and the indoor swap meet belongs to the city of Pomona. Montclair owns a portion, or rather doesn't own, but a portion of it is in city of Montclair, but there's an agreement between the city of Montclair and the city of Pomona that Pomona is fully responsible for oversight of the indoor swap meet. They receive all of the taxes related to the indoor swap meet. So I know what I'm talking about. I've been the city manager for 16 years. I've been an employee of the city for far longer than that, and I know how the city operates. And so I'm telling you, that's what happens with the indoor swap meet.
Okay, so let me say something real fast on the question procedural. The direction from the city council last meeting was for you to come back and prepare a report for us to have us understand what other cities are doing regarding immigration enforcement. Some cities were mentioned this evening, including the city of Pomona. Provide us an education on this whole thing, what cities can and cannot do. Obviously, some other things were added to this evening. That's fine. I realize that there's a lot of work that needs to go into this and analysis, research. I realize your plates also you have other projects you're working into, so I trust you'll get it to the council as soon as you can, in addition to all the other stuff that you're working on, staff reports and everything else. So I trust that you will bring it to us. Don't know exactly when it'll come to us, but you're going to work on something. So with that, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. And I'm going to start with my right, Councilmember Rue and Councilmember Lopez. Do you have anything you wish to pull on consent calendars?
I initially did, but for the sake of time, I will pass.
Okay. How about my left? Anybody on my left wish to remove a consent calendar item?
Nope.
No? Nobody? All right. So let's get a motion on the consent calendar.
Mr. Mayor, I move adoption of the consent calendar as presented.
Okay. Moved by Lopez, second by Rue. Please vote. Everybody voted? Okay, that's adopted 5-0. Okay, we're going to go down to communications. We'll start with the city attorney.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have some items for the council to meet in closed session about. The first category, which are two potential cases of litigation concerning 54956.9D2, there is only going to be one case in that category. The second category of
B2, just one? Okay.
B1, there's just one case.
One case. B1's one case, excuse me.
Yes. B2, there will be no cases, so that.
Two is out.
B2 is out.
Okay.
And then B3 is asking that the council meet concerning pending litigation, concerning the 10 matters that are listed there. All versus the city of Montclair, Brambilla, Matheson, Kism, Griffin, Cook, Kresbach, Ibanez, Young, Searing, and Fuentes Garcia.
Okay, thank you. City manager.
No items.
Can you talk a little bit about the housing element plan where we are on that, please?
Yes, so the state of California issued to the city of Montclair a notice of violation in relation to its production of the housing element, which was due in 2021. However, in the letter that the state provided to the city of Montclair, the state identified a number of bullets in which she recognized that city of Montclair had submitted its housing element numerous times. Each time we submitted it, the state of California decided that they wanted some amendments to the housing element. So from 2021 through 2026, effectively, the city has gone back and forth with the state housing, HCD, Housing Community Development Department, to address their issues in relation to the finality of the housing element. Then the city was going through the process of doing its general plan update. In relation to the general plan update, the city was doing rezoning of a number of areas within the city of Montclair. So in conversation with the state determined that they wanted the city to incorporate new overlays in relation to its zoning elements in relation to the ongoing effort to develop a new general plan for the city of Montclair. We did that. Then after we incorporated those overlay elements related to rezoning, there was a court case in regards to overlays for zoning issues, and the state of California decided that it wanted the city of Montclair to incorporate those matters into our housing element. That court case, the Redondo Beach case, was issued in October of 2025. And so in conversation with HCD, we updated our housing element to reflect the decisions made in that court case. We then communicated to the state of California that we had a timeline for adoption of the housing element. That adoption was the Planning Commission in April of 2026, followed by the City Council in May of 2026. And then because it is an ordinance, it requires 30 days before it becomes effective. Therefore, we told the state that the ordinance would be effective in June of 2026. HCD was welcoming of that particular time schedule. However, sometime after that conversation, the governor's office decided that it wanted to make an example of the 15 cities in the state of California that were still negotiating the terms of their housing element with HCD. And the state in late March issued a notice of violation to the 15 cities in the state of California that did not have an adopted housing element. We have since communicated with the HCD. We reminded them of the timeline that they agreed to. They are in agreement with that timeline, although we have amended it and said that we would bring the housing element to the City Council as an urgency ordinance that you will be asked to adopt on April the 20th. We also have a meeting scheduled with HCD tomorrow to further discuss this timeline. And the state letter indicated that we had to have the ordinance adopted by April the 23rd, or have a letter submitted to HCD as to why we have not adopted the ordinance by April 23rd. We will have it adopted April 20. We will meet that timeline. Again, we meet with HCD tomorrow to discuss this timeline, and they have indicated to us that they are satisfied with the process that we have developed, the urgency adoption of the housing element, followed by the normal adoption through the Planning Commission and the City Council, and that will be completed by June of 2026.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll move on under Mayor Communication. First of all, do want to announce that we'll have 4 members of the Community Activities Commissions whose terms will end on June 30th, 2026. So we've already set out the advertisement for these 4 positions. Obviously, all the commissioners have been notified of their terms ending, and if they wish to reapply, they may do so. And the deadline for that will be May 1, 2026 deadline, the application. They're on, if you wish to apply, they're on the email address, Andrea? Email? I'm not email, the webpage.
Yes, they're on
City
the
of Montclair.
website, and there are also hard copies at City Hall and in the council chamber.
Perfect. So you can come to City Hall here, get an application, or go on the city's website. Second of all, I just want to announce, or have the council agree to a special meeting of the City Council on Thursday, June 25th at 5:30 p.m. in these council chambers for the fiscal year 26-27 preliminary budget review workshop, and to consider approval of the fiscal year 26-27 annual budget. And then schedule a tentative second meeting, if needed, on Monday, June 29th at 2026 at 5:30 p.m. To continue discussion, consideration of fiscal year 26-27 annual budget. Can I get a motion for that?
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
To the deputy city clerk or the city clerk, the meeting that you were wondering about our scheduling, was that to deal with the housing element? That's to deal with the budget?
No, that's like cannabis. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm confused
Yeah,
about.
the
Was
June-
it the
we're
cannabis
we're
issue?
still trying to organize dates in June for cannabis.
And
early.
was there a date? You still need to hear from us. Okay, so it's nothing to do with this one.
Yeah, I think
Okay, so
we're
there's
just-
3
it's gonna be
meetings
the
going on,
third
but
or fourth.
that's where I'm getting confused. All right.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so if there's no objections to holding the workshop on the budget on the and approval on the June 25th, and then a backup case, June 29th, no objections, that's so ordered. In addition to that, number 3 and number 4, cancellation of meetings, May 18 meeting. Some of the members will be attending a conference. They will not be here, so we'd like to cancel that meeting. And then on July 6th, this is right after the 4th of July, they cancel that meeting as well. Any objections to that? If not, so ordered. Just want to move on with my communication. Ombutrans celebrates 50th anniversary this past week. Obviously, it was formed in 1976, and so I was able to attend that event. This morning, along with Councilmember Mendez, we attended the ribbon cutting, the groundbreaking, for the Homeless Navigation Center in Fontana. This is obviously, the city council is aware of this since we approved the agreement with the county of San Bernardino to do this event or to have the homeless services there. I just want to commend staff last Saturday for holding the Easter event here at City Hall. Obviously, a great event for our children in Montclair. And then I just want to introduce some in the audience. Denzo, stand up. This is Denzo. He is a Montclair High School student. He is the incoming class president at Montclair High School. And he contacted me 2 or 3 months ago, wants to learn about government, wants to know what the mayor does. So last week on a spring break, he went with me to Ombutrans, SBCTA. He went with me to the IUA Sewage Policy Committee. He went to me to a committee meeting on Friday and met Congressman Peter Aguilar. And so he's interested in getting more involved here in the city of Montclair. So I just want to introduce you, Denzo. He's also a member of the soccer team, the senior soccer team. Really good program, and also he does track and field, and he's trying to figure out if he wants to go to USC or UCLA for his undergraduate work. And he wants to go to an Ivy League school for his graduate or law school. So he's originally from Honduras, and just want to like to welcome Denzo. And then lastly, obviously this is the month of April, and I just want to recognize, obviously Passover is currently occurring. April 22nd is Earth Day. We have, during the month of April, we have Administrative Professional Day. We have Holocaust Remembrance Day. This month is also Arab American Heritage Month, and then this month is also a Cancer Control Month. So I want to start with Councilmember Rue with his comments.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll start out where the city manager left off as far as housing. I won't belabor the point tonight. We have a long meeting after this. I have always, from the time I've been on this council, been a strong supporter and proponent of affordable housing, especially ownership housing. It's the way you build wealth. Instead of worrying about whether we have housing for the affluent, we need to worry about whether we have housing for the working class. I've always believed that. I continue to believe that. I'm not going to belabor the point tonight. You did hear from the mayor about our successful Easter event. It was a very successful event. We had about 400 people go through the doors, at least seeing the Easter Bunny. There were more who chose not to. I want to thank staff for all of their help, the CAC committee for their involvement in helping to put it together, the Montclair Kiwanis Club for their pancake breakfast. You had a great breakfast for $5. You can't go anywhere and get a breakfast for $5. They worked very hard. They made sure they had breakfast for all of the people who were on staff and volunteered. That was absolutely great. Several families came in with their pet dog and said they'd like a picture with the Easter Bunny and the dog, and of course, we accommodated that. And then the last item, it's not so much Montclair, but it is. I've been following the Artemis rocket launch and this time in space. One of the astronauts, Victor Glover, is from Pomona, California. I think that's great. This is a moment for our region to celebrate. He may not be from this house in Montclair, but he's from our neighborhood. And this is something that I hope will serve as an inspiration to the future, to pursue that dream, and maybe we'll have more astronauts from this area. Thank you.
Councilman Lopez.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Real briefly, I want to thank the fire rep for coming and speaking to us tonight. I did have on my list the marijuana issue. And what dates are we potentially looking at?
I believe it was June 3rd and 4th.
All right, I will get back to
We're
you,
not
staff.
doing the 17th because, Mayor Dutray won't be here that week, right? 17th?
Yeah, it's June 17th, I'm not here.
So June 3rd or 4th. I will get back
That's,
to you.
again, that's for the cannabis. And then, there's
It's going to be a joint workshop with the Planning Commission as
yeah,
well.
the housing element will be on the regular city council meeting, so.
To staff real quickly, I wasn't sure if a resident that sent in the video to either the city manager or the chief, but a resident on Monte Vista Avenue was once again asking or inquiring about the status of the high profile vehicles, diesels on Monte Vista. Are we still patrolling Monte Vista to make? I appreciate that. The chief acknowledged that they are, and I appreciate that. As the mayor alluded, Passover did start last week, I believe, on the 1st, and it continues to the 8th or the 9th. I could be wrong on the date. But for all those who do celebrate Passover, I wish you all God's best to you and your family in this, one of the most holy holidays for the Jewish community. So I have the Hebrew phrase here, but I'm not going to slaughter it. But all the best. Happy Passover. And I wish you all God's peace to your family and your extended family. I just want to say, irrespective of what individuals might think of me, you don't even know what I'm going to say. Well, I would think you would care. I had met directly with the Consulate General of Mexico in June of 2025, and their office has offered to me to direct them, anybody who is in need of assistance. Unfortunately, it's just Mexican individuals because it's the consulate and they can't help individuals of other countries directly. But since then, we have forwarded 2 families with a jeopardizing status. These individuals were concerned about possibly being stopped, being picked up. And then one individual was even in Upland that we managed to make sure they had their appropriate papers. I've said this before at many meetings, I'm not gonna list the agencies that were involved because there will be retaliation from the other side. I'm not gonna mention the names of the individuals because they're already living in fear about being targeted and sought after, so I'm not even gonna do that. 2 Montclair residents, one works or did work, unfortunately he no longer does because of the fear situation. He worked at a very popular restaurant here in Montclair and he is concerned. But nonetheless, any families that come to me for help, unfortunately, they're just Mexican families, again, because it's only the Mexican consulate. I have worked with legal immigration groups that provide free counseling, help them with their status, with their papers. If they're lapse on their papers, they will try to get them updated with their papers. If a green card expired, a work permit expired, they will try to get them that information. So if they're stopped, they have adequate and up-to-date papers on them. It explains their legal rights, legal protections, all that. So I'm committed to doing that, and I will remain committed to doing that. With that, Mr. Mayor, I believe that covers all my points.
Yeah, thank you. And unfortunately, a family I'm working with that was detained last June, and there was an article in the Daily Bulletin, which he was apprehended on a church property. He had bad news last week. He's exhausted all his legal remedies. Most likely will be deported soon. So give that family some prayers. Councilmember Mendez.
Both items that I had were both already spoken about, so I won't waste time. Thank you.
Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem Martinez.
Thank you. We as a council pride ourselves on diversity. And we have ethnic, we have gender, we have age diversity sitting up here, but the point of diversity on a council is new ideas, different perspectives, innovation, proactivity, and yet time and time again, we can't even agree as a council to have a discussion about something that our community feels very powerful about. What is there to be afraid of when we have a discussion? Facts? So with that said, at the last council meeting, there were 4 points that were raised. I mentioned them earlier. Just briefly to summarize, there was a request from the community for a local support fund, adopting a policy that prohibits ICE from staging on public property, not contracting with companies that include data sharing with law enforcement and ICE, and a request for why Monte Vista to Mills and Kingsley to Holt is being targeted disproportionately. Today, we heard those same 4 requests with 2 additions. As for the local support fund, there was a number that was raised, $300,000. The new item that we heard today, it may have been raised at the last meeting, and I apologize, I didn't hear it, was ICE wearing masks in our community. are all of those, just for clarification, are all of those issues going to be addressed when this item comes up on the agenda, or do I need to make a new motion?
So are you asking the question of the city manager or the council?
City manager.
Yeah, I can address all of these questions, but you may not always like the answers. The city has nothing to do with ICE wearing masks. The state of California has attempted to address the issue of ICE wearing masks. The federal government takes I'm sorry, what?
I didn't say anything.
The state of California has attempted to address the issue of ICE wearing masks. The federal government has taken a different position. The state of California has not resolved that issue. The city of Montclair certainly isn't going to be able to resolve that issue. We don't have control over ICE. The federal government and the Department of Homeland Security has given ICE authority to wear masks while they're doing their engagements in the respective communities and states. Unless and until DHS changes its policy, the city of Montclair has very little to do with that. There may be a Supreme Court decision that challenges the ability of DHS to allow ICE to continue operating the way they are. But again, it's the federal government, and we have no authority over the federal government, and the Supremacy Clause makes that quite clear. Local governments and states do not have control over federal authorities. So unless and until states get into the Supreme Court of the United States and the Supreme Court makes a decision in relation to issues like the mask policy, there is very little that we can do about it. We can adopt a policy. I can bring one forward to you, and you can adopt it, but we can't enforce it. The Montclair Police Department cannot enforce it because we do not have the authority and the capacity to enforce against federal law. Okay, all right.
Martinez.
So I'm satisfied. We are going to discuss those issues.
I will bring all of these issues forward and discuss them with you and give you the opportunity to direct staff.
Thank you.
But I'm only saying that directing is not the same thing as implementing, because sometimes we are limited in what we can do.
So, but basically, Ed, again, all this we brought over as an education of this council, of what the city can and cannot do when it comes to immigration enforcement, which includes masks. So that's added to your list. That's part of it too. So, all right. Anything else, Mayor Pro Tem Martinez?
No, thank you.
Okay. And again, like I said, you're not sure when this report has come to us because, it's going to take some time to put it together. And with that, we're going to go to closed session. Thank you.